not come out more damaged than they are when they go in. The whole purpose of the juvenile system is supposed to be to help kids, rehabilitate, educate. Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm here to be of service any way I can. Definitely. All right. So whenever we're ready, I'm ready with y'all.
Yep. Yep. All right. So I think that we'll start, and then if he comes,
he's on his way. He's like 4 minutes away. Yeah.
I would give it just a couple more minutes. He's not going to be up for probably 30 minutes.
Yeah. He can just come in.
Yeah.
I'll tell their team.
Yeah.
Once I don't know if they've seen everything.
Oh, okay.
So it's like once he arrives, maybe I'll tell. I'll tell them to follow up and call him again and say when you arrive here, just come on.
Yeah, exactly. And someone could always talk to him on the side and then bring him up.
Yeah. And I can ask Siona to call you.
All right.
Okay.
Could we do a test? Could we do a sound check on the live stream?
Sure.
Yeah.
I already went live.
And everything. Testing. Okay. Can you hear me on? Can you test the live stream? Live stream's up. The sound on the live stream. Okay. Hey Jude. So, could we just get everyone up? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyone who's comfortable joining the stage, you're welcome to. Okay? Anyone who's comfortable being on the stage, you're welcome to join us. We'd love you to join us if you're comfortable, okay?
Okay. What?
Okay? Yeah. rid of the tripod. I'm gonna pick it up. Just yeah. Let's get rid of the tripod. Oh, it's take. All right, leave it. Okay. All right. Ready?
Yes.
Ready? Okay. All right. Can you hear me? All right. Just give me a thumbs up if you're operating a camera. Okay. All right. Everyone, welcome. My name is Jerome Block from the law firm of Levy Konigsberg. We're here today to announce that more than 350 cases have been filed by men and women who were sexually abused as children in juvenile facilities in New Jersey. These are serious cases. The perpetrators in all of these cases are adult staff members. These were adult staff members employed by these juvenile facilities. The very adults that were entrusted with keeping children safe in New Jersey juvenile facilities are the ones that perpetrated the sexual abuse. These cases could not be more serious. Many of our clients were raped as children in government-operated New Jersey juvenile facilities. Many of our clients were forced to perform oral sex and other sexual acts. Our clients were threatened, bribed, coerced, manipulated. No child should have to go through that. These cases are filed under the New Jersey Child Sexual Abuse Act. This is a law that recognizes the deep trauma that children experience when they are sexually abused, and that it takes years and even decades for children to become adults and be ready to come forward and talk about what happened to them. Our clients have been suffering alone until now, but they will no longer be silent. Our clients know that this was happening, that this happened to them. The Department of Justice has issued published reports that show that state-operated facilities in New Jersey had high incidents of child sexual abuse. And look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. 352 cases filed. This went on for over 40 years. These are cases that arose from 1982 all the way up until 2024. Most of the victims in these cases were 16 years old or younger when they were sexually abused. And look at the facilities. This is the New Jersey Training School. It used to be called the New Jersey Training School for Boys. Many of our clients call it Jamesburg in Monroe Township. Almost half of the cases, more than 150 of the cases, happened at the New Jersey Training School. Governor Christie promised to close the facility. Governor Murphy promised to close the facility. The New Jersey Training School is still open today. Children are there today. And we've seen no evidence that the procedures and policies that were inadequate, that enabled this horrific sexual abuse have been fixed. And we and these survivors are genuinely concerned that children in the custody of the state of New Jersey today are not safe. These cases come from many other state-run facilities, including the New Jersey Training School that was at Skillman that closed in 1992, the Arthur Brisbane Child Treatment Center, which closed in 2005. These cases come out of the Daytop Village facilities, where the state of New Jersey sent children who needed drug treatment. But when children were there, they were often bribed with drugs to engage in sexual activity. These cases come out of more than 10 counties throughout the state of New Jersey, with cases coming out of Cumberland, Camden, Middlesex, Essex. There's more than a dozen cases filed in this court right here involving Middlesex County, and the Supreme Court of New Jersey has recognized that these cases need to be treated very seriously, they need to be coordinated, and a special multi-county litigation called an MCL was formed for the state juvenile detention center cases right here in this courthouse, so those cases can move forward as efficiently as possible. We have survivors here today. Their voices need to be heard. We are calling upon the governor. We are calling upon the governor. We're calling upon the candidates for governor running for election right now to do something. 350 people, more than 350 people have come forward. How many more people need to come forward until the governor and the attorney general take these cases seriously and do something? We've seen no evidence of any investigation, of any hearing, and that is unforgivable. These survivors deserve support, they deserve justice, and we're going to hear from them today. So right now, I'd like to introduce another warrior for justice, Stacey Hughes from the law firm of Baldante Rubenstein, who is also representing some of the survivors.
Good morning. I want to thank each of you for being here today to address a matter of profound importance and our collective obligation to protect the most vulnerable members of our community. I stand before you representing survivors of childhood sexual abuse that occurred within the juvenile detention facilities right here in New Jersey. Institutions that were meant to provide rehabilitation and safety, but instead they became the breeding grounds for abuse and places where youth suffered unimaginable harm. These brave survivors have come forward despite tremendous personal cost, breaking years of silence to seek justice and accountability. Their courage in speaking truth to power deserves our respect, our attention, and our unwavering commitment to action. The children who entered these facilities were already among our community's most vulnerable. Many were warehoused in decrepit institutions, often for minor offenses or simply due to systematic neglect. And instead of receiving the care and rehabilitation they deserve, they were subject to sexual abuse, psychological torture, and routine dehumanization by those entrusted with their welfare. This represents a fundamental betrayal of our duty to protect children and a complete failure of the system designed to serve them. We are not here today seeking sensationalism. We are here demanding accountability from institutions that failed in their very most basic responsibility, keeping children safe. We are here to expose what happened when state-run facilities become hunting grounds for predators and dumping grounds for children who the state believes should be forgotten and silenced. And as you will hear from these brave survivors, we are primarily here to ensure that the system that enabled this abuse are reformed to prevent future harm. Our survivors aren't here seeking headlines. They're here to seek justice. They're entitled to accountability, to meaningful reform, and yes, to the full measure of the remedies available by the law for the harms that they endured. But to be clear, what is most important is change. It is oversight that works. Staff who are trained and trusted in systems that protect rather than portray. Their courage in coming forward is not only about their own healing, it's about making sure that no other child is left unprotected, that no other child is silenced as they have been. The path ahead will not be easy. These cases are complex and the trauma runs deep. but we will not be deterred by institutional resistance or attempts to minimize the brutality these children endured. Every survivor deserves to have their voice heard and their trauma acknowledged. To the survivors watching today, your courage in coming forward matters. You are not alone. We see you, we hear you, and you are not forgotten. We call upon lawmakers, juvenile justice administrators, and the community leaders to join together in demanding comprehensive reform. Children in the state of New Jersey custody deserve protection. They deserve healing, not additional harm. They deserve dignity. They deserve justice. And they deserve to live free from the fear in a system that was supposed to save them. Instead, it destroyed them. I look forward to this continued fight and this continued work and having the opportunity for the survivors to share their stories with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. I just want to, again, invite anyone else who wants to come up on the stage. If you're comfortable, we want your voices to be heard, and we invite you to be with us. So these cases are not just a fight in the courtroom. These issues are being fought and have been fought by nonprofits, advocacy groups who have been fighting for juvenile justice reform and against sexual violence for years and years and decades. At this time, I'd like to introduce Natalie and Solange from the New Jersey Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Solange Ramkasoon. I'm the Survivor Services Specialist.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Akel, and I'm the Prevention and Community Engagement Specialist.
We're here today on behalf of the New Jersey Coalition Against Sexual Assault, also known as NJCASA, the statewide advocacy organization representing all of New Jersey's county-based sexual violence programs, Rutgers Office of Violence Prevention and Victim Assistance in New Brunswick, and 8 culturally-specific organizations across the state. We stand in solidarity with all survivors, and today we are here to demand justice and stand in support for those who have experienced sexual violence within the carceral system as youth. No matter your age, background, circumstance, no one deserves experiencing sexual violence. Everyone deserves safety, dignity, and justice. We have a collective moral and legal responsibility to keep our youth safe when they are interacting with these systems. And when these systems don't work, they need to be held accountable. To survivors harmed in these systems, we see you, we believe you, and support is available. In New Jersey alone, 2.7 million people have experienced contact sexual violence, a number we know is underreported. This is especially true with carceral systems, where reporting can be dangerous. Speaking out can come from real consequences, retaliation, disbelief, and further trauma. Often silence feels safer. That's why today matters. Sexual violence in detention facilities doesn't happen in a vacuum. These systems often target communities that have been under-resourced and under-recognized. And when harm occurs, survivors are met with barriers, not support. We must address these systematic failures, because without changing the systems, we won't change the outcomes.
We also have a collective responsibility as a community and as a state to ensure that if someone is harmed in a facility who has a legal responsibility to protect them, they have access to safe, informed ways to report and receive support. Ultimately, We must work towards a future where no child, no person, whether in a home, school, or facility, is at risk of sexual violence at all. At NJ CASA, we envision a world free from sexual violence, where every person's dignity is respected. Seeing you all here today gives us hope that this vision is not just possible, it's already in motion. Please know if you or someone you have experienced sexual violence, support exists. We encourage you to reach out to your local county program, or you can call or visit us on our website, njcasa.org, for more information. Thank you for being here, for raising your voice and showing up to demand accountability and change. Thank you to each survivor who will be speaking and sharing their story. Together, each voice joins to become a symphony that sings out for peace, healing, and justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalie and Solange, and you give us hope as well. So thank you. I'm going to introduce next Ashanti Jones from the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice, and this organization has been fighting for juvenile justice reform for a long time. I read a newspaper article from 2017 where the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice held a press conference like this, demanding that the New Jersey Training School be shut down. And, I was reading that the facility holds about 200 children. Again, it's been 7 or 8 years since the state of New Jersey and had promised to shut the facility down. And it should not be that hard to keep children safe. I'm introducing now Ashanti Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashanti Jones. I am a policy analyst in the criminal justice reform pillar at the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. And as Jerry said, we have been fighting to close these facilities since the launch of our campaign in 2017. But we're here today because New Jersey's children deserve better than more broken promises and trauma at the hands of the state who were entrusted to their care. When you incarcerate a child, you already inflict trauma that will shape their life forever. The loss of freedom, separation from family, the stigma of being labeled, these wounds already run deep. But our state has allowed something far worse to happen, where those who are entrusted with their care and rehabilitation have instead inflicted irreparable harm. Young people should never have to endure the additional devastation that comes with sexual assault, the violation, the betrayal, and the lifelong shame that comes with such a terrible experience. And let me be clear about what we're talking about here. At the top of 2024, we had 50 men come forward to talk about decades of pervasive sexual abuse, rape, and retaliation that they experienced as children in these facilities. At the end of 2024, we had a young lady in the Hayes facility come forward about sexual abuse that she experienced in 2024. And that's a facility that only holds 5 girls right now. So you can imagine that there's zero accountability for what's happening to those young people. Now that number stands to over 350 now men and women who have been harmed across facilities in New Jersey. This is not just a failure of oversight, but a pattern of institutional violence against children. And here's what makes this even more unconscionable. These facilities have been living on borrowed time for more than 8 years now. In 2017, Governor Chris Christie announced a plan to close those facilities. 8 years later, now on the cusp of now a third administration, children are still being warehoused in those same buildings that officials have repeatedly called outdated, ineffective, and harmful. We've had 2 governors, attorney generals, and a task force acknowledge that these facilities do not work, yet our youth continue to be subjected to their nightmares. The task force of experts that Governor Murphy convened on this issue have already called these facilities antiquated. They have called these facilities adultified, and the experts have called these facilities ineffective. Yet they remain open, continuing to shape, actually shatter the lives of our most vulnerable young people. At this point, we've had enough. We can't really allow another day, another week, another year of delay while our children suffer untold harm in facilities that everyone already agrees should be closed. Every day that these doors remain open is another day that we choose administrative convenience over safety and dignity of New Jersey's children. 2 years ago, I sat in an interview with a man who was in his 70s who recalls with vivid detail his first night in Jamesburg at the age of 12 years old. With tears in his eyes and then in mine, he recounted sexual and physical abuse that would rival anything you could imagine. That is an entire lifetime of carrying pain that he held since he was a child. 60 years later, that pain was as fresh for him as it had happened yesterday. So how many more lifetimes of suffering will we allow before we finally close the doors? We have been incarcerating children for over 150 years in this state. How many more spirits do we need to break before we take real action? So we call on the state to stop maintaining these facilities and start closing them. Accelerate the timeline. Move from planning to action. Every young person currently behind those walls deserves to be the last generation subjected to this failed system. The time for studies and working groups has passed. We have to close these facilities now. We have to finally hold the state accountable for the ways that they have failed to protect our kids, the ones that are now men and women today, and the ones that are currently in there, and to protect the ones to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashanti, and for the work of your organization. So important. Now I'd like to introduce the survivors, and I want everyone to hear their voices. I want the governor, the attorney general to hear their voices. I want the people making policy in this state, in the juvenile system, to hear their voices. So the first survivor who's going to speak is Hassan's Kirby, and if you all can just stay close to the microphone because we want to hear your voices. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Minister Hassan Kirby, to be exact. And I'm standing here, but it's about us. Every survivor here. And the reason I'm turning away to say every survivor here, if you survived and we made it, I need you to hold them signs up if you got them. Hold them up. We made it. We made it from the juvenile justice system. We made it through the adult justice system of being sexualized and preyed upon. You talk about rehabilitation. There's no way to rehabilitate a youth if he hasn't been rehabilitated. He or she. Most of the youth that are incarcerated have been because of some type of traumatic experience already dealt with in the homes. So what do? We go out in the streets looking for love. We get into this, we get into that, and we wind up incarcerated where we have supervisors of youth centers who prey on you by watching you. It's intentional. If you're not getting visits, if you have a bad behavior, you're the one they prey on. Why? Because they know no one else outside cares about you. And that's how they're able to get this off on us. So what we do, we follow who don't want to have sex inside of a jail with a female. You don't look at it as being nothing wrong with it. You look at it as, okay, well, I'm in here, I'm 16, she's showing me attention and affection, so I'm going to go along with it to get through this. Same thing with the women, being sexualized for different cosmetics and hygiene products. So it's a difference. We get sexualized as men differently than the women. They get sexualized just for use of hygiene products. We get sexualized differently because they say a man is going to like it. A young boy is going to be accepting of you touching him or doing him something to him because young boys are typically really like high sexual drive type when you're young. You're always looking for this. So in my case, I'm glad that this has come up after 38 years. Because 38 years ago when this happened to me, I had to keep it silent. So people wonder why I'm angry all the time. while I'm responding. I wasn't one of the ones who got hooked on drugs and things of that, but I did have a behavioral issue because of what happened to me as a juvenile. And this is the truth. So today I'm able to talk about it. Today I'm able to share with youth out there, you don't have to suffer in silence. What's behind me is men and women who broke the cycle now. We're going to speak up because we know it was wrong for us, so we damn sure don't want it to happen to the younger ones coming up today. Jamesburg should have been closed a long time ago, and we know it because you say that we're going to give them vocational rehab. We're going to give them a GED. That has nothing to do with the emotional and psychological trauma that is faced in there. When you as a young man or young lady have to be taught, take everything off, strip bare naked, lift your testicles, spread your anal cavity. That's not this, and cough on top of it. This is not normal behavior. So the system has said, well, they shouldn't have been in there in the first place. We have a law society says that if they did wrong, they should be incarcerated. We don't feel that way, and we're here today to show you that it stops now. The buck stops here. We're out here, we're speaking, and we're going to continue to speak. You should have never opened up this door if you didn't want the truth. Now that the door is open, we're going to go through it, and we're going to go through it together, and we won't suffer in silence any longer, and we won't let another youth suffer in silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Kirby. I'm introducing now another survivor, Jason Ackerson.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Before I start, I just want to say there are truly no words to express what I went through and what I feel to this day. My name is Jason Ackerson, and I'm here today not just to tell my story, but to speak for all the children who were hurt, ignored, and silenced inside New Jersey's juvenile detention facilities. I was just a kid when I was sent to Jamesburg. Instead of being protected, I was targeted from 2002 to 2003. While I was housed in the behavior modification unit, I was abused by a correctional officer named Rodriguez. At first, he pretended to be kind. He offered me food and extra privileges, and I was grateful. I thought he was looking out for me, but that was a lie. One day, Rodriguez came into my cell alone, locked the door behind him, and told me it was time. I paid him back. I didn't understand what he meant until he slapped me, grabbed me by the throat, and beat me until I submitted. That abuse didn't just happen once. He came back again and again, threatening my life and my family's safety. He told me he had access to my files and that no one would believe me, and he was right, because I did report what happened, but no one listened, no one cared. Rodriguez was allowed to stay in the facility to keep his job and to keep hurting kids like me. What happened to me was an isolated incident. It was part of my culture of violence and silence and has existed in New Jersey's juvenile detention system for decades. Guards, counselors, staff, people who were supposed to protect us used their powers to harm us instead. And the state allowed it. They looked the other way. I was a child. I was supposed to be safe. Instead, I was assaulted, threatened, and traumatized in the place that was supposed to help me turn my life around. Today, I speak because the truth matters, because there are still survivors out there living in silence, and because no child should ever be abused and forgotten behind locked doors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. We're with you 100%. Introducing another survivor, and these survivors have tremendous courage, as you can see. Frederick Mabel.
Good afternoon. My name is Frederick Mabel. I was just a kid when I was sent to the Juvenile Detention Center in New Jersey. While I was there, I was abused by a sergeant and by an RTI worker. Two adults who were supposed to protect me and guide me. They used their power to hurt me. They threatened me and told me to stay quiet. Told me that if I ever spoke out, there would be consequences. For a long time, I stayed silent because I was afraid, because I thought no one would believe me. But I'm speaking today to say that I was one of many kids discarded and abused by a broken system that saw us as throwaways instead of children. A system that let predators keep their jobs year after year while their kids got hurt. While the kids got hurt, we were left to carry the trauma alone. Today I have a stable job. I work hard to build a life beyond what happened to me. But the truth matters, our stories matters, and I won't let fear or silence define me anymore. I was abused, the state failed me, and I will not be silent about it no longer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frederick. Introducing another courageous survivor, Randolph McLeod.
Good morning, everyone. I was abused in what we call Jamesburg, the New Jersey Training School for Boys, and I remember coming and arriving there in a bus where I was put into a little room in what they call the JRU, Juvenile Reception Unit, and this is where the cells are in the facility. There are no cells elsewhere other than a lockup facility. And when you first go in, they sit you in a room with some guy who shaves your head very violently with clippers that are rusty, not oiled, and they shave it all. Then they just throw you out there to put you in the shower with an officer watching you shower, completely naked, but you're a juvenile. I remember being put into Cottage 8 with Officer Batista, and Officer Batista was a very tall and heavy-set man. He called me out saying he was going to talk about a write-up, and taking me into the back of the officer's podium into a little room they have. He wound up hitting me over the head, and I tumbled over. And I'm thinking maybe he just wanted to do physical violence to me, but it was a lot worse than that. Too graphic to even describe, at the present time here, but I would not want any other child or juvenile or any other individual to suffer such things or atrocities from individuals who are entrusted with the responsibility of our safety and security while going through a rehabilitation process. It's a shock to me that this place is even still open, or places like it is still open. These officers and these individuals who are supposed to be trained or taking certain classes and training and things to be able to be these professionals are individuals who are using this authority that they have to abuse us and take out their own childhood traumas or something. It's just ridiculous how unchecked they are. I reported this matter not only from Cottage 8 to the sergeant there. The name was Sergeant Tutt. I was slapped and told to remain quiet. That if I said anything about it, when my mother comes to visit me, something would happen to her in the parking lot. Then I was in Cottage 12. Maybe a year and a half later, I'm being told by the counselor that I'm out to be released. A pill came through. After the officers heard this, they then assaulted me the night before my release. I couldn't even walk. I had to literally be pushed out in a wheelchair, and they kept trying to make it so I was so injured that I would not be legally allowed to be, or medically allowed to leave the facility until I'm medically cleared. And I had to fight through the pain just to present that I can actually walk. I really feel like this place should be shut down, and the government individuals who are in charge of these facilities who are not taking the proper oversight or, reviewing these things need to lose their jobs and be brought to accountability for it. And I commend all the brothers and sisters here today that came forward to speak about, these atrocities. It takes a lot of courage and bravery, but just know that, again, we are here and we're doing what we're doing to make sure that our youth and others in our community are not going to suffer these type of atrocities again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Randolph. Okay. Introducing another courageous survivor, and we appreciate you all so much. Introducing Wendell.
Good morning. I'm here standing before you, not as a victim, but as a survivor. For many years, I carried this weight on my shoulders, a weight that many of us have here bared. I carry this around in silence, a prisoner of my own pain, of my mind and my potential healing. I thought the silence would strengthen myself and it'd be a protection for myself. But it only protected and strengthened those who cause harm to me and the ones you see before you. Now I can confidently say that through the pain, now I can confidently say, though the pain is still real and present, I matter. We matter. Our voice matters. We are not defined by what happened to us. We are defined by our courage and resilience. We are not defined by the abuse, but how we stand against it. To all the survivors here and elsewhere, that pain is valid, the struggle is valid, and whenever you're ready to use your voice to demand back your power, the juvenile justice system in New Jersey was supposed to be there to help guide us, act as our temporary guardians in a way. They were supposed to be there to protect us and guide us in positive and informative ways. They were given power not to abuse, but to be a part of our success stories. They took advantage of their power, of their role, and now it's time to hold them accountable. It's time for healing. It's time for us to reclaim our lives, our path, and it's about us demanding justice. We need to be sure that future generations are protected and there are consequences against those who choose otherwise. As hard as it is for me to stand here today, I won't be silenced anymore, and I will never be silenced again.
We have another survivor who wants his voice to be heard. Tormel.
How's everyone doing? I just want to, use this opportunity to address the elephant in the room. I think these decades of benign neglect comes from the fact that a lot of these institutions are predominantly Black and Latino people. And that's a demographic that already was voiceless before they got into these institutions. And imagine 40 years later being ignored by the same system that was responsible for you becoming a victim. So I can't stand here and say that we will receive justice because of the ignorance of our local governments and our local establishment, but I don't want to leave this podium by not saying what it is. Black and Latino youth are being targeted. They know that they don't have a voice. They know that no one is going to speak for them. They know that if something happens to them, not just in these juvenile detention centers, but in life, period. This is a systemic situation that we deal with on a daily basis. So a little rectifying is the least that they can do on behalf of the Black and Latino youth. I'll land with that.
Thank you, Tormel. And let me just say something. My understanding is that the Attorney General is conducting an investigation into sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. We've seen some news about the Attorney General looking into sexual abuse that was perpetrated by the Catholic Church in New Jersey. Why not an investigation from the state into itself, right? So these lives matter just as much, all right? These survivors want to know that their lives matter just as much as survivors of sexual abuse by the Catholic Church. So the Attorney General, the governor, they shouldn't just be looking into sexual abuse by the Catholic Church. They should be looking into and investigating fully the sexual abuse that occurred at the hands of state and county juvenile staff members that inflicted this horrific abuse, and stop applying a double standard. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. And we can answer some more questions on the side. We could have some more interviews on the side. But that concludes the events from the podium. Thank you so much.